I had some walnut left over from the coffee table I built last project and figured it was the perfect opportunity to complement the table with some matching coasters. I started off by ripping the piece of wood down to about 4 inches wide. Because this 3/4 inch stock is pretty thick for a coaster, I need to resaw it or split it in half. I'll first line up the blade to cut the board in half, and then grab my feather board to help support the piece while I cut it. I'll take one slow pass with the blade pretty low, and then I can flip the board over and make another pass on the other side. If you had a bandsaw, you could do this way faster, but I don't have one, so this is the best I'm going to be able to do. After the first 2 passes, your board will look like this, so I'm going to raise the blade up just a little bit and make another pass. I can then repeat this process over and over again until I'm safely able to cut the board in half. Now you're bound to have a few saw marks, so I grab my sander to smooth everything out. Once the boards are smooth, I can put my rip fence away and grab my miter gauge. I'll set up a stop block on my miter gauge at about 4 inches so that these coasters turn out to be perfect 4-inch squares. After squaring up one end of the board, I can lower my stop block and cut the coasters down to final size. You could absolutely use sandpaper to round the sharp edges of the coasters, but I'm going to move over to the router table and use this super small roundover bit to do the work. Now this is usually that time in the video where I tell you that I have full step-by-step plans for the project, but at the time I put this video out, I didn't make any. But if you do want to see some full plans for this project, let me know down in the comments below, and if I get enough people saying they want them, I'll update the video with a link to those plans. After all the edges were smoothed over, I needed to do a little bit of sanding. Now you're probably used to seeing tons of woodworking videos all over YouTube where it looks like people never make mistakes. I find that a little hard to identify with because on every single project I always screw something up. And to give you an example, just watch how many times I screwed up trying to sand these little coasters. I even tried dialing down the speed. And the reason I wanted to show you this is because I am far from an expert. Sure, I edit all those videos to look like I know exactly what I'm doing, but there's a ton of trial and error that goes into every single project I make. So even if you aren't 100% confident you can make one of these, just go out and try. Anyway, after I finally figured out how to sand, the coasters were done and we can shift our attention to the box that will hold them. I grabbed some more scrap walnut and resawed it the same way I did before, so while I knock this out, I want to let you know that I'm also on Instagram at Spencley Design Co. Over there, you can check out tons of behind the scene photos and videos of projects way before they make it here to YouTube. So if that's something you're into, consider following me. With all that stock situated, I can start breaking it down into the individual pieces that will make up the sides of the box. This box is going to be joined with mitered corners, and while you could use the table saw, I want to show a different technique on the router table today. I grabbed a 45-degree chamfer bit and then inserted it into the collet. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't have to worry about perfectly dialing in the angle of the blade like I would on the table saw. I can then run each piece across the bit to get a perfect 45-degree angle. And while I could stay here at the router table to make the dado to house the bottom panel, I'm going to switch it up and use the dado stack on my table saw today. After changing out the blades, grabbing my dado throat plate, and setting the height to about 1/4 of an inch high, I could easily cut the dados into all the pieces. While I change back to the standard blade on my table saw, I want to thank my Patreon supporters for helping make unsponsored videos like this possible. If you're interested in helping support the show so that I can reach my goal of going full-time and quitting my day job, consider checking out some of the rewards that I have available for you. But like always, there's no pressure. Once the regular blade is back in, I can cut the bottom panel of 1/4 inch thick walnut plywood down to its final size. Now you can see how the box is going to go together, but before I glue it up, I'm going to cut some finger holes to easily grab the coasters out of the box. I'll take all of the side pieces and then line them up and wrap them in painter's tape so they do not shift. Once wrapped up, I can mark out the area that I want to remove. I'll move back over to the table saw and set up a stop lock on both sides of the piece and slowly start cutting this section away with the piece clamped down to my miter gauge. Now this is not going to result in a perfectly clean cut, so I'll grab my spindle sander and slowly work the spindle inside of the finger hole until it's perfectly smooth. And now that all those pieces are identical, I can glue it up. Now, if you ever have trouble trying to figure out how to clamp up small objects like this, I actually find using masking tape is the easiest since it stretches just a little bit. I let the glue dry overnight, and I came back the next morning to remove all of the masking tape. To clean everything up, I did a little bit of finish sanding, and then it was time for finish. And in order to get the coasters to match the coffee table perfectly, I used some oil-based polyurethane. I applied a few coats with a small rag, and then these were done. While coasters are a small project, they're the perfect way to complement a furniture piece, especially if you have leftover scraps. And if you're ever about to set a drink down on a nice piece of furniture, just stop. Use a damn coaster. See you on the next one.